Aloha, my name is Scott Heintzman,
And my name is Susan Deans.
and we work for the Kaua'i Plant Extinction Prevention Program. And today we're going to discuss Dubious Delissea, untangling the taxonomy of the Hāʻupu population.
Delissea is an endemic Hawaiian genus in the Campanulaceae. It's part of the famous adaptive radiation of lobeliads across the Hawaiian Islands. As it's currently described, Delissea is known from 15 species that were once distributed across the main Hawaiian Islands. Of the 15 species of Delissea, only 3 are extant in the wild. 1 species from Hawaii Island, 1 from Oahu, and 1 from Kaua'i. Today we're going to focus on the 2 described species from Kaua'i, Delissea rhytidosperma and Delissea kauaiensis.
Hāʻupu was the first to recognize Delissea as a distinct genus from other Hawaiian lobeliads. Not all the Hawaiian Islands were visited during his expedition, which excluded Kaua'i. In 1867, man had described 7 new species of Delissea, which included rhytidosperma from Kaua'i. The first comprehensive flora of the Hawaiian Islands was made by Hillebrand in 1888. In his description of Delissea, he emphasized leaf morphology and distinct knobs on the corollas versus calyx shape and size. In Lammer's treatment in 1990, 2 separate species were recognized on Kaua'i. Delissea undulata subspecies kauaiensis, which was considered extinct, Delissea rhytidosperma, which is considered extant. The most recent revision made by Lammers in 2005 recognized Kauai taxa as Delissea rhytidosperma, which is extant, and Delissea kauaiensis, which is extant, with some sympatry.
This map shows the historic range of Delissea kauaiensis and Delissea rhytidosperma. The populations in red have been extirpated in the wild, and the populations with X's over them have been lost completely, meaning we no longer have genetic material from them stored ex situ. Circled in red is Hāʻupu, and this is the area of sympatry that Lammers identified in his 2005 revision of the genus, where both Delissea kauaiensis and rhytidosperma were thought to occur together.
Hāʻupu is located on the southern portion of Kauai. It was once home to many endemic species found in this small mountainous range and nowhere else in the world. A single population of Delissea was found by Tim Flynn in the 1980s, which at the time were considered to be Delissea rhytidosperma. With Lammer's recent treatment, he identified some of the vouchers from the site as Delissea kauaiensis and some as Delissea rhytidosperma, making it an area of sympatry.
So what separates kauaiensis from rhytidosperma? Flower knobs are one important character. On the left is a picture of a rhytidosperma flower, which has 1 dorsal knob and 2 lateral knobs, whereas kauaiensis flowers only have a single dorsal knob. Leaf characters are also important, including petiole length. Rhytidosperma has shorter petioles that are no longer than half the length of the lamina, whereas kauaiensis petioles are much longer. On kauaiensis, the leaves are widest at the base, whereas rhytidosperma have leaves that are typically widest at the middle or above. And finally, the margins of the leaves are different, with kauaiensis having much more serrated leaves, with rhytidosperma having much finer teeth on the margins. Another important character which can be hard to see from herbarium specimens is the habit of the plant. On the left is Delissea kauaiensis with former Kauai PEP coordinator Wendy Kishida, showing its typical habit, which is a single unbranched treelet with the leaves closely clustered at the tip in an apical rosette, whereas rhytidosperma is typically a much more branched plant with leaves distributed all along the stem.
We find that there's more variability in these characters between individuals at Hāʻupu than at sites with only kauaiensis or only rhytidosperma. Plants from Hāʻupu have 1, 2, or 3 knobs on the corolla with inconsistent petiole lengths, variable leaf shape, and margins. This makes it hard to delineate taxa at this site. This example underlines the confusion around the plants at this site. This is a voucher of Delissea from Hāʻupu made by Tim Flynn. As you can see, the species determination has changed several times. Its leaf characters align with kauaiensis, but without being able to see the habit or corolla knobs, it's difficult to assign the species to it.
Unfortunately, all of the wild plants from Hāʻupu have been extirpated. Luckily, NTBG worked with these plants and secured thousands of seeds from several different founders before they were lost in the early 2000s. Last year, we realized that many of these collections were expiring in the seed bank, and so we are now growing them in an inter situ area. Since there is currently no protected habitat on Hāʻupu to outplant them into, and so that we can replenish the seed bank with fresh material. We would like to identify which taxa we have represented to help us decide where these plants are best placed.
One of the main questions we have is, should we keep this population geographically separate? Because both of these species are so fragmented, it's hard to know if these Hāʻupu plants represent variation within both taxa, with only one of the taxa, or if they're a result of hybridization. If we can identify that the ex situ material we have represents only one taxon, we will like to mix these plants with existing outplantings in other parts of the island to maximize genetic diversity.
If these Hāʻupu plants represent both taxa, we need a way to tell which founders belong to which taxon. If they are a result of hybridization, maybe genetics can help us untangle their parentage and help to inform our management decisions. Our overall goal is to try to recover both of these species. Although rhytidosperma is extinct in the wild, we're lucky to still have so much material to work with, which gives us another chance to maximize the diversity that we have left. We hope that by identifying some of these taxonomic issues, we can spark interest in using genetics to help us untangle these Delissea on Hāʻupu. Thank you all for listening today. We hope that you're all now as confused as we are.
And thank you, Lauren, for creating the space for us to present the Kauai conundrums from the field.